So if you can take a seat, we can start. We were just informed that we are a little bit late already. So let's try to catch the time. So good morning, everyone. My name is Gianluigi Baldesi, and I work in ESA. I'm the head of the Venture and Financing Office in Paris, in the commercialization department. So today I had the pleasure to, to moderate this panel. But before doing this, let me take a few seconds to explain a little bit why ESA is involved, with investors community. As you know, the space economy is changing rapidly. We see there are, many dynamics that we see in the sector, many new players, especially for, the new space entering into the space, and we see that the space economy is really booming. Prediction for the next years in 2040, it's quite consistent to have an estimation over 1 trillion. So it's very important that, especially the agencies start to reflect how we change our roles and how we can really support this transformation. Therefore, with Joseph Aschbacher, when he became the Director General with us, he set a clear agenda 2025, which put commercialization as one of the top priorities. Consequently, we have been, very active in shaping the commercialization services across ESA, really to support, the growth of the economy. On this, for instance, we try really to focus in all the different sectors and in all the different phases of the company. Starting from the incubation, we really have leveraging the long experience of the ESA BIC, the Business Incubation Center. We have 29 across Europe with over 20 startups starting every year. And this is, as I said, will be 20 years anniversary this year. Moreover, we have many programs that support the technical development of activity in the different directorates, which are more focused in the technical development of commercial business or companies that come with a commercial business. We have plenty of programs like Incube, BUS, Boost. Every program are really thematic. Depends on the specific sector, on the Earth observation, launchers, and so on. And, to try really to encourage this growth of the sector, what we are doing is also to go beyond and really focus on companies that are in the, in the scaling up phase. Therefore, how we do this, we have launched last year, and it was approved to the next ministry to create a marketplace where we encourage companies to, with a very high TRL and with an ambitious growth to apply to enter in the marketplace and start to, sell their service and also acquire service to the ESA with ESA support. Because one of the main challenges is the revenue generation of this company. This is the key element to attract even more investors. From the investor community, as you know, the investors have been always very active in the US. And in Europe, in 2021, we had 600 private funding to European companies. In 2022, even though the overall economy was going down, we had a reduction of minus 33% in Europe, in the global, and in particular in the US. In Europe, we doubled it. So last year, we had over 1 billion invest in space from venture capital, mainly investors. And this year, I saw the data of in October, we are 20% less, but we have still 2 months to go. So maybe we are not we will not continue growing as the last years, but we are consistent staying around 1 billion. this is the prediction of also for 2023. And one of the points is really the revenue generation, which is one of the main challenge that the scare investors. It's not anymore the technology, it's not really, but it's more on the business side. So for this, we have started to launch several initiatives, and we are very active in this conference because at the end of the day, it's very important that we hear from investors what are the top priority, what are the view, which is different from the one that, let's say, the traditional ecosystem is used to listen. So I have the pleasure to have quite an interesting panel here. So maybe to make it things simpler, I will ask each of you to introduce yourself and to explain a little bit what are your investor fund and what are your priority. Maybe I will start with you, Marino. If you can introduce you and...
Okay, so Marino Fragnito. So on this panel I'm representing the Flying Object. The Flying Object is a US-based venture fund. I'm a venture partner to the Flying Object, and we are in the process of setting up a fund in Europe. We have already invested in 4 or 5 companies in Europe in the new space business. The Flying Object, let's say, is focused on technology of flight, both on the, let's say, aeronautical technologies and space technologies. The fund that we are trying to set up in Europe at the moment is more space focused. I hope that we will be able to be operational in a few months and have a Europe-based company, because we think that there are a lot of opportunities in Europe for growth. Of course, my impression is that we are a bit behind the US at the moment, so we have to try to fill this gap, and it will take some time.
Okay, very good. Maybe Umberto, you want to go first?
Gianluca, grazie dell'invito, molto apprezzato, grazie a tutti della pazienza con cui ci ascoltate e dell'attenzione. I apologize to all non-Italian speakers, but I follow a simple majority rules. There's the great majority of Italians in the audience, so I'd rather speak Italian, happy to answer every question in English in case that there's any. Io lavoro per una società di gestione degli investimenti italiana che si chiama Italia Independent Investor. Ci occupiamo di investimenti da tanti anni, abbiamo avuto tante esperienze all'estero, ma abbiamo scelto di concentrarci sull'Italia. Siamo convinti che l'Italia sia un paese che ha tante importanti eccellenze industriali. Crediamo che la filiera aerospaziale sia una di queste e stiamo facendo partire un fondo di investimento di private equity nel verticale aerospaziale. Siamo qua con grande umiltà cercando di imparare, prima ancora che trasmettere le nostre idee, le nostre iniziative agli altri, ma al tempo stesso pensiamo di poter dare un piccolo contributo a questa che riteniamo un'importante filiera di eccellenza della componentistica industriale italiana.
Thank you. Yes, hello all. My name is Andres. Andres Pesce, come from Chile. For me, it's an honor to be here because my family is from Italian origin, so it's always good to come back to this country. And I also was lucky enough to study here my master's and live a couple of years. So I represent Kayak Ventures. Kayak Ventures is a Chilean investment fund. We are based in Santiago. It's a fairly big fund for Chile. Venture capital is a nascent industry in Chile and Latam. We manage $145 million. Our focus is Latin America and Latin American founders. I will speak a little bit what is the edge with space economy for us. We are a generic fund, but we are mainly looking for applications of all the technology that is being deployed in space to be applied in Chile. There are some things. Chile has also an ancient embryonic satellite industry. We are just starting to learn, but I'll give you later the edge of Latin America towards all this technology and science that's being deployed today.
Stefania?
Okay, thank you. Welcome to everybody. I am Stefania Scione, and at Intesa Sanpaolo, I am in charge of research innovation and a European funds advisory team. Our team consists of engineers and financial experts specialized in evaluating the technological and economic feasibility of a research and innovation project. As you know, Intesa Sanpaolo is the leading investment bank in Italy in all business areas, including retail, corporate, wealth management, providing financial and non-financial services to more than 14 million of customers through its branches. And we have also an important presence, a strategic international presence in Europe. Intesa Sanpaolo is one of the leading banking group in Europe with a market capitalization of 45 billion euros. As Intesa Sanpaolo, we have strongly committed to supporting investment in research innovation with a particular focus on the space sector. As you know, recently, Intesa Sanpaolo has made a significant investment in SpaceX with a well-known company for its innovative and futuristic approach. Because as Intesa Sanpaolo, we recognize the new space economy as an important catalyst for economic development, for the growth of the sector, and for the creation of innovation disruptive. Intesa Sanpaolo is working closely with key European and national stakeholders to establish framework and financial instrument, financial mechanism, which will boost the sector, which will boost the progress and drive the innovation, research, infrastructure initiative in evolving space industry. For example, Intesa Sanpaolo participates at the Space Finance Lab set up at European Investment Bank with the aim to study and to develop new financial instruments tailored for space industry. We collaborate with other leading investment banks in Europe to share best practices and to share knowledge. As you know, in the field of research and innovation, Intesa Sanpaolo has extensive experience in supporting investment in research and innovation and in offering corporate finance services to encourage, to boost innovation and development. Intesa Sanpaolo has developed a range of novel financial instruments, including debt, loan, equity, quasi-equity, designed to assist startups, SMEs, large corporations in accessing financing, thus supporting disruptive and breakthrough innovation from the earliest research stage to the industrialization stage, bridging the gap between the innovation ecosystem, the innovation and the market adoption. For example, through our novel financial instrument called Nova Plus, more than 2 billion euros were provided to support 1,700 research innovation projects for a total budget of 4 billion of investment in research innovation. Both as direct and indirect participation in equity as a shareholder, Intesa Sanpaolo is one of the main investors in venture capital funds, and it is also a co-investment with the European Commission on the EIC fund platform. Intesa Sanpaolo not only promotes financial instruments, but also financial consulting services in order to improve companies' financial readiness, as well as a brokerage initiative in order to support tech transfer from the innovation ecosystem to the market. Our goal is to accelerate the most innovative companies in Europe.
Okay. Thank you, Stefania. It was a good overview, and I mean, the Space Financial Lab that you mentioned is really an initiative that we are trying to do. We are launching with the Commission and the European institution to really listen from one side the perception of all these instruments from the company and really to design the new one. So it's very, very interesting. The first one will be beginning of January. So maybe let's start with some specific question which allows to share your perspective. I will start with Marino, with you. I mean, in your capacity of the venture partner in the Flying Object, I mean, it will be interesting if you can share in assessing a business opportunity, what are the, let's say, the key performance indicator that you have to assess the return of investment for your investment. And the second element is also, in our sector, is really an high risk and high innovation sector, as we know. And it will be interesting if there is any specific threshold or set as a benchmark for your evaluation of a startup in the space sector.
So, you know, my background is not a financial background, you know very well. So I am what I would call more an industrialist than for sure than an investor. But so I have a specific approach to the sourcing and the investment decision. So I think the main things are a startup needs to have a very strong team. This is the first thing that you need to assess. A solid business case, which is the most difficult thing to have, because I think that today most of the startups, I mean, maybe Italy is a bit behind even with respect to Europe. So I think that we have a specific problem of Europe with respect to the US, and then we have another specific problem of Italy compared to Europe. So the most difficult thing to find in a startup is a solid business case, is the capability to have revenues, let's say, quite fast, to generate revenues, because especially in the space business, the difficulty has been that in the past, the barriers at the entrance of the space business were too high. And so that's why we only had legacy players in this business and not many startups. Today, the barriers have been, let's say, reduced, but still there are specific cases in which the business is very capital intensive. And so the capability of generating revenues and seeing a break-even is seen very far away. So as an industrialist, the first thing that I want to understand is if revenues are coming and when they are coming, if the break-even, how far is the break-even? Because for venture capitalists, you know, you need to think about the exit. This is the other important thing when you invest in a company. And you cannot just invest and put money in the company and wait 15 years that revenues are coming and break even. So I think these are the key performance indicators that we are looking at, and not just pouring money in the field waiting for something to grow up sometimes, which is unfortunately most of the time the typical business case of a venture capitalist fund.
Thank you, Marino. Maybe I will move to Andre. Andres, as you said, you are a Latin American, if you want, investor fund. However, you have done also investment in Europe, in the US, as the fund, not in space, but in other sector. And I was wondering to have your perspective as a sort of global investor, if you want. How different is Europe with compared to, let's say, the US, and how we can learn from it? What is the advice that you can give to the audience?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I would like to mention our approach to investing in this space generally, right? So we are a small fund, so it's a small fund when you invest in infrastructure for space, but it's big for Chile. It's $145 million, which is indeed the biggest fund in the history of Chile, right? So, but what's the challenge of us coming from Latin America? Of course, Latin America is not a big provider of technology in space economy, but I'll rather concentrate in how do we apply all this technology that is being deployed here in Europe, in the US and China. And I think the challenge for us and the opportunity where I see is in having startups that can integrate all the data that is being generated in an agnostic OEM way, right? And not only information, for example, that is coming from space, from satellites, but also ground sensors. And we have a couple of sectors in Latin America that are very big and challenges, especially starting, for example, with critical materials for the energy transition, for example, copper, lithium, and all those minerals. You need a lot of monitoring. We need more efficient mines, we need more safe mines, and and cleaner mines. And for that, you need a lot of sensors and a lot of technology. And the challenge is how do you integrate that and synthesize all the information that is being generated. Also in agriculture, in precision agriculture, and also in forestry and conservation, for example. And water, we have big issues of water, we have big problems of information, so it's wiser for us, at least as a fund, to invest in those type of companies. Now, when looking to Europe, the mistake that we must not do in Latin America is to copy-paste what's going on in Silicon Valley, right? Because it's not going to happen in Latin America, because we don't have a redundant innovation ecosystem and financial ecosystem as in the US. So when I come to Europe, I think Europe has a more value perspective approach, more value investment. Which I think I like. We like to look more at, okay, how are we going to be able to break even, as you were mentioning, we think that the exits and the investors in LATAM and in Europe are not as aggressive as in the US, and I think that is a better case for us because I think the exits in LATAM and in Europe maybe are going to be not in the $1 billion, not all of them, just a few, more in the hundreds of millions of euros or dollars. So valuations also are important, and there's a lot of technology in Europe. A lot of small companies that Europe sits on top of a stock of knowledge that is immense, right? So and there are a lot of small companies that are doing great things, and they, maybe with a little bit of capital, not a lot, they can boost their growth, right? I just was visiting an incredible company in Florence that's doing monitoring of stability of slopes, of mines and infrastructure and tailing dams using satellite information. Small company, 10 people, super interesting. So I think there are a lot of opportunities for us to invest in Europe, to look for applications that can help us have more cleaner, sustainable, and efficient industries where we are big. But I think that's my take as an investor.
Okay. Thank you, Andres. Now we leave the floor to Umberto. Umberto, with the E3P Space Fund, you are focusing more on the, let's say, the SMEs as a private equity fund. And I mean, what will be interesting to share with the audience is really how you assess the scalability of those companies, how with your fund you will help them in growing further. Huh?
Allora, noi siamo investitori, investitori vuol dire finanza. A me hanno insegnato che la finanza è una disciplina al servizio dell'impresa. Cioè non bisogna considerare la finanza un'industria fine a se stessa, cioè la finanza serve a fornire alle imprese i capitali per investire. Per far crescere un settore occorrono investitori in tutte le fasi della vita dell'impresa, occorrono investitori nelle fasi iniziali di sviluppo, nelle fasi di maturità dell'impresa, occorrono anche investitori quando poi le imprese diventano grandi, si quotano in borsa. Noi cerchiamo di concentrarci sulle piccole e medie imprese, siamo convinti che in Italia un pochino la spina dorsale del sistema imprenditoriale si era rappresentato dalle imprese piccole e medie. Lo spazio non è un'impresa, non è un settore unico da questo punto di vista. L'Italia è famosa per imprese piccole e medie nel campo della meccanica di precisione, nel campo della moda. A nostro avviso lo spazio non è un'eccezione. Secondo noi ci sono delle eccellenze industriali che si sono sviluppate con una filiera di componentistica di eccellenza, spesso lavorando per i grandi integratori di sistema, spesso con commesse che vengono dalle grandi agenzie internazionali. A nostro avviso queste imprese hanno bisogno di un supporto in termini di risorse finanziarie per crescere, ma anche in termini, se vogliamo, e lo diciamo con molta modestia, anche di professionalizzazione e managerializzazione delle strutture. E in qualche modo molto spesso queste imprese noi riteniamo possano beneficiare di un contributo anche in termini di trasferimento tecnologico, perché il trasferimento tecnologico non si fa soltanto dall'università all'inventore nel garage con la felpa e il computer, cioè il trasferimento tecnologico si fa anche in maniera, chiamiamola market based, cioè si fa attraverso le imprese che fanno ricerca e che fanno innovazione. Noi siamo convinti che in questo momento ci sia una grandissima opportunità, non soltanto per aiutare le imprese a crescere nel loro settore, ma anche per affrontare settori contigui e settori adiacenti, pur utilizzando le stesse tecnologie, pur utilizzando un know-how consolidato nel corso degli anni. Ma siamo convinti che con le giuste risorse finanziarie e con un adeguato trasferimento tecnologico le nostre imprese piccole e medie possano raccogliere la sfida che la New Space Economy crea, perché è vero che non c'è Space B, no? Però esistono tantissime articolazioni della Space Economy, cioè tutto il settore dell'osservazione del mare con l'uso di tecnologie spaziali, tutto il settore dell'osservazione delle infrastrutture attraverso tecnologie aerospaziali. Sono settori che a nostro avviso avranno un grandissimo sviluppo nei prossimi anni, è tutto quella che si chiama la parte downstream della Space Economy. Ecco, io sono convinto che le nostre piccole e medie imprese siano unicamente posizionate dal punto di vista dei vantaggi competitivi che hanno per far bene in questo settore. A noi piacerebbe, scusate, naturalmente noi facciamo gli investitori, quindi noi vogliamo guadagnare soldi, no? per i nostri investitori, ma pensiamo di volerlo fare attraverso la creazione di valore per le imprese in cui investiamo. Pensiamo ci sia un'opportunità importante, non abbiamo la pretesa di aver individuato l'unico settore importante in cui investire. Siamo convinti che siano cruciali i nostri colleghi che investono nelle start-up, nell'early stage, siamo convinti che siano importanti i grandi system integrator che poi rappresentano un pochino il punto di arrivo della filiera, ma siamo convinti che l'Italia anche in questo settore possa far molto bene con la spina dorsale di imprese piccole e medie.
Grazie Umberto. So Stefania, investment, are not the only source of capital for a company. As you mentioned, there are additional instruments, and if you can give us some concrete example how the company, what are these products, and how a company can apply, but also what is the strategy, what are the difference of this product compared to traditional venture capital investment.
Okay, thank you. Oh, okay, thank you very much. So, as you know, Italian space sector is characterized by a high level of heterogeneity in terms of players involved, size of the companies, project, technology, and related technology readiness level. So for this reason, this complexity and diversification of the whole value chain, space economy value chain, require the use of a different financial instrument, including debt, venture capital, equity, guarantees, all combined with the public support, which is fundamental for the development of a space industry. So the public funding scheme is of great importance to properly manage the risk associated with investment in space, especially for upstream segment. So blended financial instrument and the mechanism involving co-financing and or public-private co-investment initiative can be really beneficial. So in this context, financial instruments can play an important role in the support of the space industry, engaging in projects even at an early stage, promoting a constructive dialogue with industry stakeholders, and fostering sustainable financial models. So the blend of public support and private investment in whatever form is crucial in generating the direction, the scale, and the speed of the investment needed. Consequently, it is fundamental to define a funding strategy and to select the appropriate financial instrument in order to boost, to support the progress of the whole value chain company. For example, for low TRL and high-risk project, public fund and capital fund are essential. Conversely, some organizations involved in research and innovation activities demonstrating a higher TRL or a solid, more robust financial capacity can shift their attention, their focus toward traditional finance or innovative finance. Intesa Sanpaolo has developed a novel financial instrument called Nova Plus Space, aimed at supporting research and innovation projects within the space sector. This pioneering instrument, let me say, disruptive for a bank, is without guarantees and with an amortization. It's a long-term project-based loan without guarantees, with an amortization period of up to 10 years, which supports research innovation within the space sector, taking into account the unique characteristics of the industry, the stage of development of the companies, and the related investment plans, investment project. So the loan novelties lies in combining the traditional credit assessment with the technological and industrial evaluation of the research innovation project carried out by engineers and financial experts within the bank. So by understanding the industrial benefit of the research innovation investment, the bank can properly evaluate the entrepreneur's strategic implementation plan and consequently identify the most suitable financial instrument needed for the project development. So the credit assessment is dynamic, enabling a correct evaluation of the real value of the company, going beyond the conventional balance sheet evaluation. So this is the great success of this instrument. We are also convinced that to maximize the financial opportunities for the companies need customized financial consulting services in order to improve their financial capacity, in order to trigger further investment. So this kind of services will facilitate an effective engagement of a financial ecosystem and can better the success of these companies in accessing financing. Intesa Sanpaolo partnered European Digital Innovation Hub called DAMAS, focused on space industry, leading the pillar access to finance in order to provide consulting services to companies to improve their financial, the access to finance at the European level.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Stefania. So maybe it's the time to open plenty of questions, but I would like to involve you. It will be interesting if you have a question, if you can introduce yourself and your affiliation.
Hello, my name is Michele Malerba. I am the CEO of SpaceV, an innovative startup that is a spin-off of the University of Genoa. We aim to adapt a vertical adaptive farm that exists at the prototype level for Earth, for space. And my question is, on the one hand, for companies that are at pre-seed and seed level, and on the other hand, for A round and beyond, what equity deals and eventual other instruments beyond also maybe debt do you offer to startups at the more practical level? Many thanks.
Wants to take it? A chi la vuoi fare?
We take 1 minute each.
Well, I think that
We are equity investors. We are trying to build a portfolio of approximately 10 companies. We are planning to invest anything between 5 and 15 million in companies' capital, not necessarily at the same time. We could do add-ons, we could do follow-on capital increases. We do only primary, we don't do secondary. And our idea is to be long-term investors, accompanying the firms in our portfolio for, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, with an exit strategy that could vary between an IPO listing or industry horizontal consolidation or strategic sale to large industry buyers.
Anyone else want to?
So, okay, as I was saying, I'm a venture partner to a US-based fund, and so I'm not on the strategy of this US fund, but for the fund that we are setting up in Europe, the strategy very much depends on the amount, the total amount that we will raise. But let's say that the intention and the target is to raise about 100 million euros here in Europe, and the strategy is to invest at pre-seed or early stage around 15-20 companies, and then to follow up 5 companies more or less. So the ticket for early stage and pre-seed is in the order, can be a few kilo euros to up to 1 million, and for follow-on investment in the order of 5 to 10 millions. And also for phase C, we can have only few maybe companies that we will follow up, possibly some unicorns.
Looking forward. Please, Andre.
Thank you. In our case, we go from seed to Series A. We invest in equity or convertible notes, which is quasi-equity at the same time. It's the same thing at the end. It's much faster. And typically, we do tickets from $1.5 to $5 million or euros. And we intend to invest in our second fund. We did 25 companies with the first fund. We are now launching the second fund, which is, it's going to be $100 million as well. We started already with a first closing of 45. We want to do a little bit less companies, 18, so we can concentrate more on the ones that are needing more capital.
Okay. As a bank, so the diversification of the size of the companies, of the actors involved, of the project, of the TRL, implies the use of a different financial instrument, of course. So, in our opinion, the blending between equity, loan, and guarantees is the most correct funding strategy. So it depends on the stage of the company, it depends on the research innovation project. As in Intesa Sanpaolo, through Nova Plus, we can support projects from the earliest research stage to the industrialization stage. So it depends on many factors, but in our opinion, the most suitable strategy is the blending of all these instruments.
Okay, I think we have still 2 questions from the audience. I'll leave you the floor. Please, quite a specific question. Because we
Yes,
don't have too much
very
time.
specific. Emilio Simeone from Flyby. I'm the CEO of this small holding that now control 3 startups in the field of downstream applications of Earth observation satellites. We have now 3 startups that are profitable already with customers, but we need grow at an international level. So investors that can help us to make up an international global sales organization network with the reps or with distributors, but especially also to open the door of big corporates that are in the domain of, for example, the energy and healthcare, that where we operate with the Earth observation satellites. So what is your role as investors for this capability to boost the growth of already break-even level and profitable startups? Thank you.
To which one you would like to ask? Everybody.
Is it? Yeah, it's working. Sorry. So I think, in my experience, the big challenge at the end of the day is distribution. There are hundreds of companies with great products, even great teams, but they fail to. It's the challenge is to become a standard and to distribute. It's very difficult to be when you do B2B. It's very difficult to have an efficient distribution network with 1 or 2 products, and that's the big challenge of our technology companies that are doing B2B solutions. Sales cycles are big, so the customer acquisition cost is very big, and many times the average ticket of that sale doesn't balance that cost of acquiring a customer. So the reason why we are concentrating in LATAM is because also we think we can add value in opening those doors, to certain customers in certain key industries where we are big, like renewables, again, like mining, or some big tech companies, more in the application side, not in the. So at least we try to add that value. It's always distribution, access to talent, and of course access to funding. That is something we try to do. Sometimes we can, sometimes we achieve it, sometimes we don't, But that's our goal, at least, to add that value.
Someone else want to complement?
I'm not sure I have much to add to what you just said.
But okay, so because the time is running, maybe you want to add another question, no? No, because you are lighted, so let's do this one.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I represent Michela. I represent Lazio Nova. We are actually ESA big program manager. So one of my job is to scout good opportunities in the space economy, to accelerate them for 2 years and potentially be investment ready. But then this is come when we finish our job, and I talk also because we are venture capital, then there is a huge gap. The huge gap is not only because the startups are not ready to pitch. It's true, they're not good in pitching. But it's also because I think the mindset of the venture capital in the space economy should be different. And the risk also, the analysis of the risk should be a bit more different. What kind of experience do you have? Because if we are not changing our mindset in the space economy, we will never be successful in the space, in venture capitalism in the space.
Grazie. So I want to take this. You use that one.
So I'm not sure I got exactly your question, but so I understand you work on the accelerator, and then you say there's no follow-on because there's a gap with the investment in space. Yeah. No, I think that maybe one of the biggest problem I see, especially in Italy, is the scalability of the startup, of the business. So I see a lot of companies who are focusing also in data processing from space, this kind of, and most of the time the kind of business is not really scalable. So you don't really see a big potential growth of the business. So and even the target is not very ambitious most of the time. So if you don't see a prospect of scalability, of expansion, of internationalization of the company, there's a lot of risk that the venture capitalists will not invest in the company. I don't think it's a matter of risk of the business, but it's more a matter of scalability of the business.
Very quickly. So I totally agree, and also it's very important to note that there are a lot of good businesses, beautiful businesses, that are bad venture capital investments, right? Because of scalability. So you don't have to get funding. Sometimes, you get funding because you need it. And also many times it's a choice of lifestyle of the founders. They want to have a boutique, they make a good living, but venture capital will need a lot of scalability, and there's a tyranny in venture capital that is the power law, that you invest in 20 companies and 2 or 3 are going to make the return of the fund. So you always are looking for growth and scale, and pushing the founders, and that might be a bad thing for certain businesses. So nice, beautiful businesses which are not good VC investments. So it's not the same.
Maybe to complement what you just said, at the European Space Agency, what we are trying to do also, we try to educate investors about space, because we did quite a few capacity building exercise to explain the sector, what are the challenge, what are the opportunity. So, but a concrete advice I can give you, if you have any investors that is not sure about the market and so on, please reach out to me. We have a large ESA investor network, over 40 investors, so happy to have more and to educate more of them. So thank you so much for your time. I think we ran quite thank you. Let me thank the speakers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the question. Speak to you soon. Enjoy your lunch. Bye.